Puerto Rico brings to mind many images: blue waters, outdoor fun, premier resorts, and a dynamic nightlife. But for the more adventurous traveler, there lies a deeper beauty awaiting discovery. Quaint towns, mountainous splendor, and a fascinating history, all giving depth and breadth to Puerto Rico, the shining star of the Caribbean. Between the Virgin Islands and the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the easternmost island of the Greater Antilles, is 36 miles wide and 110 miles across. Its shores touch both the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Many air flights originating from the United States are non-stop. Passengers from Europe, Australia, and Canada most often take a direct flight to Puerto Rico. And the port of San Juan is the arrival and departure point for cruise ships. Puerto Rico, discovered by Columbus on his second voyage to the New World in 1493, was peopled at the time by the Taínos Indians. These Indians were peaceful, progressive farmers. In 1508, Ponce de León became governor. He colonized the island for Spain and attempted to develop gold mining and agriculture. Almost 4 centuries later, after the Spanish-American War in 1898, Puerto Rico came under American rule. And in 1952, Puerto Rico gained Commonwealth status with its own constitution. One of Puerto Rico's greatest heroes is the late Luis Muñoz Marín, elected as the first governor in 1948. Over 3 million people live here, where Spanish is the official language and English widely spoken. A third of all Puerto Ricans live in San Juan, a contemporary metropolis sprawling over 300 square miles. Yet across the causeway, this 20th century vibrancy gives way to El Viejo San Juan, the second oldest city in the Western Hemisphere. Under the watchful eyes of cultural aficionados, Old San Juan, faithfully restored, became a National Historic District. Narrow streets paved with blue cobblestones date back to the 16th century. Tourists may travel on foot to another era while meandering along the streets of quiet beauty that is Old San Juan. Aptly named Rich Port, Puerto Rico was of great strategic importance to the Spanish Empire. To protect the city, the Spaniards constructed a wall with 6 gates in the mid-17th century. Today, the only remaining gate stands along the south sector of the wall. The 16th century El Morro remains a grand example of the power of Spanish rule. This self-contained military city was considered the key to the Indies and the gateway for Spain's fleets carrying treasures from other colonies. El Morro's armament of over 50 guns and cannons successfully protected San Juan from pirates and other seafaring invaders. This fort fell only once, to the British in 1598. El Morro, the city gate and wall, and 4 other monuments are part of the San Juan National Historic Site. Replaced by El Morro as the fortress, La Fortaleza remains the oldest executive mansion in use in the Western Hemisphere. Architectural reforms in 1846 converted the fort to a palace. Today, it is home and office to the governor, with the second floor open for weekday tours. Gala receptions are held in the Hall of Mirrors amidst 18th century porcelain, antique clocks, and Spanish chandeliers. U.S. Presidents John F. Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson, the famous aviator Charles Lindbergh, and a king of Spain have all slept in the dignitaries' room. The bed, a gift from Queen Isabella II, has an unusual height because of the Spanish superstition that bad spirits hover close to the floor. A chance discovery in 1956 revealed a kitchen with the original salmon and green floor, colors typical of the 19th century Spanish palaces. Tourists enjoy the serenity of the Moorish gardens and may dip a hand into the fountain, where legend tells us a wish will be granted. El Morro's partner in defense, San Cristobal, dominates the east side of town. Constructed in 1634 and completed over the next 150 years, the fort protected the city from land invaders. At that time, revolutionary design connected intricate passageways, tunnels, bridges, and dungeons. Here at San Cristobal, the first shots were fired in the Spanish-American War. The San Jose Church, second oldest Christian church in the Western Hemisphere, stands at one end of Old San Juan. Designed in 1523, San Jose, a fine example of late Gothic architecture, captivates the visitor with vaulted ceilings, an ornate altar, and religious paintings. Centuries ago, voyagers entering the city went directly to San Juan Cathedral to give thanks for a safe journey. Since 1908, the remains of Ponce de Leon have rested here in a marble tomb. Shopping in Old San Juan in such an historic setting is delightful. Shops sell crafts which reflect the ethnic diversity of Puerto Rico. Watch for the coqui frog, one of the most beloved and imitated figures. Santos are religious objects of devotion, originally hand-carved by friars. Eventually, craftsmen or santeros began to carve these figures and may have traveled from village to village, repairing the old and selling the new ones. This artistry flourished between 1750 and 1950, and then declined in popularity. A resurgence has occurred in the Santos as art form, and today, the figures command a high price. Lace making is a respected skill here, dating back 500 years. Results surpass in beauty any machine-made lace. Every weekend at the pier, artists work under the delighted eyes of the tourists. Galleries in Old San Juan specialize in international and local fine art. On sale in jewelry stores are exquisitely designed gems. A short distance away from the quaintness of Old San Juan are the areas of Condado and Isla Verde. Here you find resort hotels with fine tennis courts and other splendid advantages. Nearby, many of Puerto Rico's most popular beaches with crystalline waters and sparkling shores provide a fabulous backdrop for a variety of fun activities. Further east, Luquillo Beach reveals one of the Caribbean's most beautiful seascapes. Along the coast, from the sleepy town of Fajardo, tourists take the 2-hour ferry ride to the small island of Culebra. Only 7 miles long, much of Culebra is a national wildlife refuge, a not-to-be-missed attraction. Puerto Rico boasts some of the best golf courses in the world. Challenging courses designed by Robert Trent Jones command spectacular views. In Puerto Rico's fertile soil, sugarcane is cultivated. Rum, manufactured from this plant and distilled here, helps Puerto Rico lay claim to being the world's largest producer of this liquor. In the distillery across from San Juan Bay, tourists are taken on guided tours. In Puerto Rico, the piña colada originated, a rich concoction of coconut cream, pineapple juice, rum, and crushed ice. Visitors on small cruise ships tour the San Juan Bay and the outskirts of the old city. At night, the festive sounds of dancing and music float on the air. On board or ashore, diners choose from continental cuisine, seafood, or regional fare. Traditional delectable Puerto Rican dishes include arroz con gandules, rice with beans, a mainstay, rich stews, sausage, stuffed pastries, and stuffed banana leaves. Desserts tempt the sweet tooth with native fruit like coconut, guava, and papaya. And the ever-popular flan, a creamy custard with caramel sauce. In Puerto Rico, entertainment and nightlife last until dawn. Experience the warmth and hospitality of the island at the Lelo Lai Festival. Watch a spectacular Vegas-style show at a hotel. Or dance at a posh nightclub in San Juan. Try your luck at any one of the many casinos in the Condado and Isla Verde areas. A visit to Puerto Rico is incomplete unless you venture en La Isla, out on the island, beyond San Juan, where breathtaking beauty awaits you. In less than an hour's drive from San Juan, enter the only tropical rainforest in the United States, the El Yunque Caribbean National Forest. 27,000 acres of protected forest land shelter animal and plant life. Visitors are often surprised when the rare and exotic Morivivi plant closes its petals the instant they're touched. Over 100 billion gallons of water cascade into the forest each year. Weaving through the forest, 50 kilometers of hiking trails are lined with rich flora. The trip south from San Juan to Ponce on the expressway takes less than 2 hours. However, traveling the longer panoramic route may prove a memorable journey. Winding mountain roads lead to wonderful sights, easily missed when traveling at a fast pace. You may want to stop off at Cuomo Springs, believed to be the fountain of youth that Ponce de Leon longed to find. Ponce, the pearl of the South, is Puerto Rico's second largest city, with tree-lined streets and parks setting a provincial tone. Travelers may linger at the Plaza Las Delicias, surrounded by the unique architecture of Ponce, from the neoclassic Casa Armstrong to the bold design of the firehouse. The Ponce Museum of Art houses an eclectic collection of over 1,400 paintings and sculptures. On exhibit are pre-Raphaelite paintings, such as Rossetti's The Roman Widow and Hunt's The School of Nature. Also on display are the works of Puerto Rican artist José Campeche, as well as innovative modern art. Just outside Ponce, off the main highway, is the Thebes Ceremonial Center. Archaeologists believe the Igneris and pre-Taínos Indians may have organized ceremonial dances and games here as long ago as 400 AD. Bilingual tour guides explain the life of the Indians and the significance of their ceremonies. Explore the village, faithfully recreated. The small openings of the huts were a protective device against intruders who were forced to enter the hut in a crouched position, making them vulnerable to attack. A small museum houses artifacts excavated on the property. Taínos Indians once met under the silk cotton tree, still standing in Ponce. Over 300 years old, its enormous size is awesome. Near the Thebes Ceremonial Center, Hacienda Buenavista, aptly named Beautiful View, offers a rare look at an early 19th century plantation. The hacienda remains a silent testimony to Puerto Rico's rich past as the leading producer of sugarcane and coffee. Meticulously restored to its original design, the hacienda is furnished with authentic machinery once used in the production of sugar and coffee. Along the southern shore, the Caribbean Sea sweeps up on clean beaches. These balnearios dot the coastline. In small towns in this area, tourists may hop aboard a small boat for a cruise, or stroll through the seaside towns. Puerto Rico's quaint hotels, paradores, located all over the island, provide many a memorable experience. At the far western tip of the island is the Cabo Rojo Lighthouse, close to Boquerón, standing 2,000 feet above jagged limestone cliffs. Tourists drive across a rough dirt road and walk uphill to reach the lighthouse. San Germán, a quaint town further west, beyond Ponce, has a city hall that was once a prison. Here, the main attraction, the Church of Portacelli, contains religious treasures from the world over. Columbus may have anchored his ship in the area of Rincon. During the winter, surfers come here in droves to ride the waves. In the center of Puerto Rico, the Arecibo Observatory, the largest radio telescope in the world, assists astronomers to chart and analyze the elements which make up our universe. The Arecibo facility has proved the existence of quasars and continues each day to deepen our understanding of what lies beyond the solar system. Puerto Rico, from modern space exploration to old world explorers, the choices seem endless. An island of pleasure, an island paradise. Explore Puerto Rico, the shining star of the Caribbean. The Dominican Republic is an island of extraordinary natural beauty, with miles of golden beaches, lush mountains, and fertile valleys. An island where the past has been carefully preserved and where the future is being built. Cradled in the Caribbean Sea, between Jamaica and Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti. However, each country has its own distinct and separate culture and government. Getting to the Dominican Republic is easy. Direct flights arrive daily from New York, Miami, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Connecting flights are available from Madrid, Spain. International flights arrive at Santo Domingo and Puerto Plata. Travel can also be arranged through tour and charter companies. Although the people are of both Spanish and African descent, the culture more strongly reflects its Spanish heritage as seen in the architecture, language, and customs of the island. On the southern shore of the island is Santo Domingo, capital of the Dominican Republic and historic gateway to the New World. Many of the famous explorers and conquistadors whose names line the pages of American history books use Santo Domingo as home port on their way to new conquests and discoveries. The most famous, perhaps, is its discoverer, Christopher Columbus. Today, many of the original 500-year-old structures built in the time of its first colonization still stand in the colonial city located in the heart of modern-day Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo is a city of firsts. It's where the first hospital of the New World, San Nicolas de Bari, was built. The first street laid out in the old city is the Calle Las Damas. Along this avenue stands an impressive complex known as the Royal Houses. From this center, a government tribunal ruled the entire New World during the 16th century. A walk down the street leads to the Alcazar, the castle constructed for the first island viceroy, Diego Columbus, and his wife. Built in 1514, the Alcazar has been restored and furnished with authentic paintings, statues, and tapestries from museums in Spain. Another example of the careful restoration of the island's colonial legacy is the Cathedral of Santa Maria la Menor, the first cathedral in the New World. Built in the style of a grand Roman church with a Gothic interior, its completion took 20 years. It is claimed to be the final resting place of Christopher Columbus. Although this claim has been disputed by more than one country, every year a formal procession to the tomb commemorates the explorer's discovery of America. Through a side gate is a small chapel where Sir Francis Drake slung his hammock during his siege of Santo Domingo in 1586. For 24 days, the English admiral held the city hostage, demanding a ransom of gold and silver. Near the Ozama River is Fort Ozama and its massive tower of homage, where Spanish guards kept a constant watch on the river. Today, the fort and tower form the focal point of a park. Surrounding the colonial section is a modern city with round-the-clock activities and entertainment. George Washington Boulevard, known as El Malecon, is one of the island's most beautiful promenades. Its cafes, restaurants, and art booths are punctuated with small terraces overlooking the Caribbean coastline. On the outskirts of downtown Santo Domingo is the Plaza de la Cultura, a cluster of buildings housing the Palace of Justice, the Museum of Natural History, the Gallery of Modern Art, and the Museum of Dominican Man, with its excellent exhibit of pre-Columbian Dominican culture. Also on the grounds is the National Theater, which is the fourth largest theater in the world and which plays host to some of the finest performing artists in the Republic and abroad. At the northern rim of the city is the Zoological National Park, featuring one of the largest aviaries in the world and an African plain where animals roam free. Nearby is Jardín Botánico Nacional Dr. Rafael Moscoso, covering almost 400 acres with 200 varieties of palms, a Japanese garden, and an enormous floral clock. A shopping expedition to the many shops and boutiques that line the boulevards and squares is a must. Located on the Avenida Moya is El Mercado Modelo, where local craftsmen come to sell their wares in a cluster of stalls. There, the ardent shopper can find the usual crafts mixed with exquisite objects created by local artisans. Remember, haggling over the price of an item is expected and is considered part of any transaction. Dining in the Dominican Republic is regarded as an art form. A meal in the gracious atmosphere along the river in the colonial section of Santo Domingo adds to the enjoyment of the food. Typical Dominican dishes include platters of plantain fried into para con piazo or pureed in mangú. Other favorites are sancocho, a meat and vegetable stew, and la bandera, comprised of white rice, red beans, and stewed meat. Fresh vegetables and fruits are plentiful. Seafood can be found on almost every menu. The catch of the day often determines the evening special. After enjoying the local cuisine, visitors may succumb to the pulsating sound and movements of the merengue, a dance that originated in the Dominican Republic. If the fast-paced steps of the merengue are too much and you would rather relax, sit back and enjoy one of the many colorful and exciting folkloric dance shows performed by local dancers at many of the hotels. If you feel lucky or just want to try your hand against the house, Santo Domingo has a number of casinos at the major hotels, each with a full complement of table games. To the southeast of Santo Domingo is a region of natural wonders. Beautifully landscaped parks and beaches line the coast. A short drive from Santo Domingo on the Las Americas Highway is the Parque Los Tres Ojos. Although it is named the Park of Three Eyes of Water, there are actually 4 sunken pools set in limestone caves 50 feet underground. Once these caves were the home of the Daynos Indians, one of the original pre-Columbian tribes living on the island. More recently, they served as the set for Tarzan movies. Just down the highway at the entrance to the international airport is Caleta Park and its museum, which features well-preserved members of the Daynos tribe. The next stop is Boca Chica, one of the most popular beaches on the south coast. Its blue-green waters are protected by a natural coral reef, making it an ideal place for wading and sunbathing. Further east, a visitor can enjoy a horseback ride to the Indian cave at Juan Dolio. A few hours drive north of Santo Domingo is Santiago, capital of the state of Cibao and commercial center of the fertile Llanque River Valley. Here, the rich soil, sunshine, and reliable autumn rains combine to produce abundant crops of rice, corn, beans, tobacco, and coffee. The North Coast, known as the Amber Coast for its extensive amber deposits in the nearby hills, has become a holiday playground. Chief among the amber cities is Puerto Plata. It's renowned for miles of pleasant beaches and lush mountain peaks rising above the city. It was near Puerto Plata that Columbus landed and established the first, though short-lived, colony of the New World. Puerto Plata has a venerable history as a pirate port, a free port in the 18th century, and a thriving coffee port in the beginning of the last century. For a spectacular view of land and sea, a cable car takes visitors to the top of the towering Isabel de Torres. At its peak is a gigantic statue of Christ, with his protective arms stretched over city and harbor. Amber is the national gem of the Dominican Republic. Everywhere, visitors will see examples of fine jewelry fashioned out of this stone. Known as the gem of the centuries, amber is actually the petrified sap of the algaroba tree. Resin oozed from this now extinct tree over 50 million years ago, trapping insects and plants. Today, scientists prize amber for its perfectly preserved genetic record of prehistoric life. Visitors can learn more about the valuable qualities of amber at the Amber Museum in Puerto Plata. With all the sugarcane and tobacco fields, it's only natural that rum is also made in the Dominican Republic. Rum is a distilled liquor made from sugarcane products and is used in flavoring some tobaccos. There are two basic types of rum: heavy, usually dark and full-flavored, and light, relatively dry and delicately flavored. Further east along the Amber Coast is Sosua. German Jews seeking shelter from the Third Reich settled on the curving bay here in the 30s. Today, visitors can enjoy the relaxed atmosphere and quiet beaches. The Dominican Republic offers visitors an assortment of recreational activities. Golf and tennis can be played throughout the island, while a horseback ride along the beach can be enjoyed at most seaside resorts. Water sports, including water skiing, windsurfing, snorkeling, and in some places scuba diving, are part of the island's beach excitement. Visitors can also arrange deep-sea fishing trips through island hotels. Returning to the southern coast is the town of La Romana. Built by the sugar barons of the 19th century, it carries the name of the sugar scales used to weigh the cane before its export. Nearby, perched on a cliff overlooking the Chavon River, is Altos de Chavon, a replica of a 16th century Spanish village. Designed by architect Robert Copa, the village shows the lifestyle Columbus brought with him to the New World. Altos de Chavon is also a showcase for local artists, sculptors, and craftsmen. Their studios and workshops, mixed in with boutiques and restaurants, line the cobblestone walkways. The village also boasts a 5,000-seat Grecian-style amphitheater. And the Church of St. Stanislaus, consecrated by Pope John Paul II during his 1979 trip to the island. The Dominican Republic, a country whose Old World Spanish heritage has been carefully preserved. An island where sunshine has produced fertile valleys and lush mountains towering over golden beaches. And where holiday playgrounds offer an array of activities. The Dominican Republic, cradled in the heart of the Caribbean.
Travelview International is pleased to present Travel Tips by Berlitz. Berlitz, the world's leading publisher of print travel guides.
Entering Puerto Rico is simple and straightforward. There are no formalities for arriving U.S. citizens. Canadians need proof of their nationality, and citizens of other countries must have U.S. entry visas in their passports. Arriving from the mainland, there's no customs inspection, but on the way back there are explicit regulations for U.S. residents returning from Puerto Rico. The airport is right on the edge of town, so it's only a 5-minute taxi ride to the Isla Verde hotels or 15 minutes to the Condado resort area. You can always take an airport limousine or rent a car. From San Juan, it's only a half hour or so by small plane to Puerto Rico's escapist isles, Vieques and Culebra. Back to earth, driving in San Juan's traffic jams with a chronic shortage of parking space is no fun. Drive defensively, for the local style of driving tends to be fast and frantic. Road distances are measured in kilometers. That's about 2/3 of a mile. But speedometers show miles, as do the speed limit signs. If you see a sign saying peligro, danger, slow to a crawl, they don't exaggerate. Signs and conversations are in Spanish, but many islanders speak good English. Puerto Rico's currency is the U.S. dollar, known as a peso. Credit cards and traveler's checks are accepted just about anywhere on the island. During the high season, between December and April, facilities are stretched and prices are higher. You really need firm reservations before you leave home. As a legacy of nearly 4 centuries of Spanish rule, Puerto Rico offers food like paella, or a similar but less sumptuous dish, arroz con pollo, chicken and rice. Or try the local version of Caribbean cooking, slightly spicy concoctions of beans, rice, pork, and vegetables. The seafood is always tasty. In restaurants, a tip amounting to 15% of the bill is about right. Tourist guides are usually tipped between 10 and 15%. Porters say 50 cents per bag. Nightlife in San Juan sizzles almost around the clock. It's rather dressy in the casinos, large hotels, and better restaurants. Jackets for men, though ties are mostly optional, and after-5 dresses for women. If you break the bank at the casino, don't leave the loot lying around your hotel room. Be sure to use the hotel safe for your valuables. Never carry a lot of cash. Always lock your hotel room door. In case of emergency, the police number is 343-2020. That's 343-2020. The most interesting shopping is found in Old San Juan. Good hunting for antique collectors. Otherwise, look for local arts and crafts, jewelry, statuettes, dolls of all sorts, straw hats, or buy hand-rolled Puerto Rican cigars. Look over the hand-printed fabrics and fancy shirts. Non-stop and direct flights link the Dominican Republic with New York, Miami, and San Juan. The airport is less than 20 miles from the capital city, Santo Domingo. There are also flights and ferries from Latin America. All travelers need a tourist card. This costs $5 US. The tourist card may be obtained from your airline or on arrival. U.S. and Canadian citizens have to show proof of identity, for instance, a birth certificate, but not a driver's license. People from most West European countries have to produce their passports. It may sound like a hassle, but it isn't. The currency is the Dominican peso, abbreviated RD $. Pesos cannot be imported or exported. You'll have to show your bank receipts to change any excess pesos back into dollars at the end of your stay. Tellers get up early in Santo Domingo. Banking hours begin at 8 in the morning and end at 1 o'clock, just in time for a siesta. There are no banks open in the afternoon, but out of hours you can change money at some exchange houses or travel agencies. Taking a break from the nuts and bolts of a visit to the Dominican Republic, here's a preview of the culinary delights. Beyond the Caribbean specialties, Santo Domingo is international in its cuisine. Spanish, French, Italian, Chinese, and even vegetarian. Whatever the nationality, they do beautiful things with the fresh fish and seafood. The local beer, drink it chilled, is excellent. But don't drink the tap water. Hotels provide bottled mineral water. No problem getting around, Santo Domingo is well served by public and private transportation. The inner city has a good, cheap bus service. Be sure to have the exact fare to put in the slot. There's also an economical system of shared taxis. They operate on fixed routes round the clock. Shared taxis are called públicos. Be sure to set the price with the driver before starting out, especially if the taxi is empty or you want to go out of town. It's not customary to tip taxi or público drivers. As for car rental, the major international companies are represented, and some good local ones. Shopping? Santo Domingo's best buys are the island's amber and coral from the Caribbean. Also artifacts made from mahogany. In the old town, haggling over the price is part of the game. Put the Dominican Republic in your pocket with Berlitz, the world's leading travel guide. Nearly 100 destinations on 6 continents, plus Berlitz phrase books and pocket dictionaries. For the joy of travel, go Berlitz.